Hey, what's up guys, Sammy here. Today I'm going to show you how to easily rename model and texture files to work correctly in game, package them in a SAF file, and then scram the files to add protection to them. A SAF file is a file type created for MX Simulator that allows the many files associated with in-game textures to be packaged into a single file. This is useful because it looks cleaner than having a bunch of JM files and PNG files in your personal folder, and it also adds a layer of protection to your files. Although SAF files are actually easy to reverse engineer, so if you're trying to add serious protection to your files, you'll need to scram them. So the first thing we're going to do is create a SAF file of all the files we're trying to package together. Many people will most likely rename the files correctly before packaging, however I feel that the way I do it saves me time, and as long as you test the files in game before you release them, you shouldn't have any problems. So to start off, you'll need to have all the required files in a single folder. For this example, we're going to be packaging a bike texture, and the specific bike we are using comes with a lot more files than most bike models, but you don't need to worry about that. As long as you include all the JM files provided by the model creator when you download the bike, you should be fine. So what I want to do is make this bike skin usable on the RMZ 450 dyno in-game. As you can see, the texture PNG itself is already named correctly for the dyno. And the first part of the name, where it says RMZ 450, is the dyno, and I'll post a link in the description to a page where you can see the correct naming for all bike dynos in the game. The second part of the name, where it says tutorial bike, is the name of the model you're using. This will need to match all the JMs for the model, which as you can see it currently doesn't. We'll fix that later after we create the SAF file. The final part of the name, where it says bike name, can be whatever you want it to be. Now to create the SAF file, you need a program called the SAF Creator made by WakeStyle, which will also be linked in the description. Once you have that program, open it up and you'll see a screen like this. So first you need to select the folder you wish to package and the file name that you want the SAF to be written to. You should also check the strip selected folder from Pathbox, or else you might have problems later on. Once you have both things selected, all you need to do is click create, and this will make the SAF file. And now we can move on to renaming the files for use in game. I now have the SAF file I just created opened in Notepad++. This will work with the normal Notepad program included with Windows, but I highly recommend that you get Notepad++ for the find and replace feature it has. And we're actually going to use that feature right now so that the files will work correctly in game. So as I said earlier, I want the bike to work under the RMZ 450 dyno, and as you can see, the texture PNG right here is already correct. And that's exactly how everything else is going to have to be. As you can see, the resource files currently don't match with that. So to fix that, we're going to use the find and replace feature I just mentioned to rename the KX450F dyno, which the resource files are currently using, to the RMZ 450 dyno, which is the one I want them to use. So I can just highlight this KX450F text and then press Ctrl F on my keyboard, and then if I click on the replace tab, I can come over here and say I want to replace this with RMZ 450. RMZ 450, and then click replace all. And as you can see, all of those were replaced in every resource file that I have in here. And now we're just going to have to repeat that step with the model name. So my model name I want to be tutorial bike, and as you can see, these all say 13KX450F. So I'm going to highlight that, go replace, and just press tutorial bike again like I did with the other thing, and then replace all. As you can see, everything updated, and that's exactly how it needs to be. It all has to be matching. Everything looks good, so I'm going to save it. And now that the SAF is done, you can either stop here and use this as a release. This will work fine when you put it in game. You can go look at the RMZ 450 dyno, and what's going to show up is this, where it says tutorial bike dash bike name. It'll say exactly this, just minus the PNG part. So if you want to continue on to learn how to protect your files better, you can stay and I'll teach you how to scram this. Otherwise you're done, and thanks for watching the tutorial. So for those of you who want some protection on your files, you're going to have to do some extra steps as opposed to just saffing it and being done. So a scram file is basically a scrambled file that the game knows how to deconstruct, and most people won't be able to deconstruct this on their own. As a disclaimer, I'm going to tell you some people do have that ability, but it's not easy to do. So for the most part, your files will be protected when you use this method, but not fully. So the first thing you're going to need to do this is the mxscram.exe, which I will also leave a link to in the description. It can be found on the forums though. And what you need to do is put all of the PNGs that you're going to put in your pack into a folder with this mxscram.exe file. And you don't need to do this with the JMs, but definitely do this with the PNGs because those are the things that are easy to rip. So as you can see here, I have the command prompt opened. If you don't know how to do this, I'll just do it again. You go to Start menu, type in CMD, and just press Enter, and it should open. And what you need to do is change the directory to the file, to the folder, where this file is. If it's on your desktop, say, I'm just going to do this step by step. So if you say you have something on your desktop, you're most likely going to start in your users and then / your user directory. So then you want to CD to the desktop, and then you can CD to whatever folder this is. CD stands for change directory, in case you didn't know. And so now I'm going to change directory to this scram folder I've made where I've put the PNGs in this mxscram.exe. So just CD scram, and as you can see, I'm in this folder now. So to actually scramble or scram the files, you need to first enter mxscram.exe, as you can see it there, then a space, and then to take care of any spacing problems, you're going to want to double quote it, and then you can go back and type inside the quotes just by pressing left on your arrow key one time. And you can do these one by one, or you can do them all at once. I'm going to do them one by one just so it's easier to follow. So I want to scramble this PNG, RMZ 450 tutorial bike name. So I type exactly that in, RMZ 450 tutorial bike name, and then it's a .png file. And then you go out of the quotes, type a space, a dash, an O, another space, and then double quotes again, and then copy that exact name, RMZ 450 tutorial bike name.png, and then add .scram to the end of it. So that's going to be the output file that the script is going to run and write the file to. So then you press enter, and as you can see, this scram file was made. So that's all you need to do to scramble these files. You would repeat this step with every PNG that you're including in the pack. For time purposes, I'm just going to use that one as an example. And then once you've scrammed all these PNGs, you'll put them back in a folder, like say the bike thing we had, and just replace the scrammed PNGs with the original PNG you had, and then you'll have to recreate the SAF. So it works the same way as creating the SAF before, so I'm not going to do it again, but you would just repeat that step with all the scram PNGs instead of the unscram PNGs. And that's the end of the tutorial. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something, hope it helped, and stay tuned.